Hey guys, it's Roslyn and welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing a basic tools and techniques video on contouring. It was requested and so I'm going to show you simple ways for a beginner to learn how to contour and tools that you can use, and I'll show you some higher end products and a couple of products you can get from the drugstore that I used to use before for somebody who's just getting started. So if you are interested in this video, please keep watching. If you love it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for my channel for more videos. Let's get into it. Okay, so to get started, I already have my eyes, brows, my lips done, and I already have a layer of primer and foundation. So we're gonna get right into the contouring portion. So whenever you're going to contour, you're already going to want to have a base on. I would do a medium to high coverage base because if I wear like a BB cream or a light foundation, I find when you pile all these products on, it just doesn't blend correctly. When you're putting on a brightening concealer, it's traditionally going to be a full coverage and you want it to blend seamlessly with the foundation, and instead you're just putting it basically on top of your skin. We're also going to be doing powder contour today. I find that powder contour is a lot easier to work with, in my opinion, especially for somebody who's just starting out. I think it'll be a lot easier, and personally, I prefer the look of powder than the cream. Also a lot easier to get your hands on a drugstore, a good drugstore contour bronzer powder than it is to a cream one. So I'm going to start off with my concealer for the highlighting portion. And I'm going to use the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Aqua Concealer in the shade Light Medium. It's my favorite concealer of all time, so I love to use this because not only is it full coverage, it's very tiny, but you don't need a lot. And it's very brightening, which is the whole purpose. So not only to use a concealer that covers up any darkness that you want to for highlighting and contour, but you want to use one that's a couple shades lighter to brighten depending on the effect you want. So I'm going to go in with this. Now, everybody's face shape is different, so there's not one way to contour. You need to cater it to your facial dimensions. So traditionally, I'm going to go, to start off, everybody is going to go under the eyes. You want to highlight the raised portions of your face. So we are going to go under the eyes just like that, a little triangular shape on both sides. You want to use a liquid concealer for this. I personally prefer anything that has like, I don't know, like a little, what this kind of applicator is called, but they sell them like this at the drugstore. I used to use the Maybaline, I think it's the Fit Me concealer. It's a dupe for the NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer, which I also used to use that one as a high-end version. But any with this kind of applicator, any liquid, you don't want to use, I have a matte concealer right here, something like this. I feel like it's too heavy to go underneath the eye, especially when you're putting this on top of foundation. You don't want to go ahead and put, especially when you're using a medium to full coverage, you don't want to put a thicker product on top of that and a product on top of that. So I like this one because it's lightweight, and most liquids tend to be a little bit lighter anyway. And then for your highlight, and then you're going to set it with powder, and then you're going to go in with your contour. So now we're going to take this. We're going to go down the bridge of the nose. This helps give the illusion of a slimmer nose. You want to make sure it's nice and straight. We're going to go in between the brows, across the forehead. And I think that's important when you're catering this to your facial dimensions, to realize what you're doing. So applying concealer to the forehead helps brighten it up, making this portion look a little bit wider, and when you contour it here, it's going to make it look smaller. So it's going to give you more of a chiseled face. I'm also going to go on my Cupid's bow, and I'm going to go on my chin. Now, I'm doing this to highlight, but also to conceal, so personally, I'm adding a little bit extra, just because I do need to conceal. I have some blemishes on my chin. Now, this part is optional. For when you contour, you're contouring to chisel out your face. So depending on your facial structure and where you lay your contour, I like to highlight underneath it when I'm doing a full face, because not only does it help sharpen and define the cheek contour more, but it also helps give you, when you contour under your jawline, that angular look. So I'm gonna go right here, right under that ear, just like. I think the staple tool for highlight and contour, specifically the highlighting portion, is going to be a beauty sponge of some sort. I have used brushes. I've used like a flat top kabuki brush like this. It does not work as well because when we're trying to get under the eye, it's just not good. I do use it on my chin sometimes in like the larger areas of my face. I still prefer a beauty blender because it picks up all that excess product so you're not super cakey, and it gives more of a skin-like texture on these very sensitive areas, specifically under the eye, and you think you have more control than when you do it with a brush. So my tool for beginner is pick yourself up a beauty sponge and a liquid concealer of some sort, a couple shades lighter, and then this is how you're going to do your placement depending on your facial structure. So right now, all we're going to do is make sure it's damp, and we're going to go in and blend it away. Adding motions, this helps spread the product. You don't want to swipe it, you don't want to smear it, you want to pat it into the skin. It gives a skin-like texture, and the sponge will absorb any excess product to prevent you from looking cakey. Now, I personally, this is a tip that I've kind of figured out along the way, I like to put my under eye concealer on. I typically put it on first, and I like to blend it out last. Now, I've found that the longer the under eye concealer sits on the skin, it kind of dries a little bit, then you blend it out, you get more coverage. Then as when I take the beauty blender, immediately pick the pigment up. It's not nearly as bright, and whatever I'm trying to cover, whether it be dark circles or anything, still might peek through a little bit. Now, this is basic highlighting and contour. This is not including color correcting or anything like that. If you guys would like to see a tutorial of that in a video, leave a comment below and let me know, and I can put that together for you guys. And it already makes a difference. Now, you highlight where the light hits. So the light is hitting my nose, casting a shadow here. And that's a good rule of thumb to remember if you ever forget where you should put your contour or you're trying to cater to your face. The nose is a really good place to kind of put this adjustment. The light is shining right down the center of my nose, which is why I highlight it. By doing that, it's casting a shadow down the sides of my nose, right here, as you can see, which is where you'd put your contour. And basically that's a rule of thumb for the whole face. So if the light is shining here and here, this is going to be the dark portion. This is where the term beat your face comes in. I'm using an off-brand beauty blender. It's not a beauty blender. It's like $5 at the drugstore, and it works fine for somebody who's just starting out. The main difference between that and an actual beauty blender is so far the beauty blender is a lot softer and a little bit bouncier, but this does the job, especially for somebody who's kind of just branching out, like that. So do you see what I mean as far as the coverage? Whereas if you've noticed, when you put concealer down and you immediately start blending it out, half the product goes away. Especially on this one, I haven't blended it yet, but you see how it's kind of already setting into my skin. Now, I love this concealer because I have never had problems with it creasing. Like, if I'm in a pinch, I can run out the door and not set it with powder. But for the purpose of this video and using the concealer at home, I am going to teach you how to actually bake. We're not just going to set our concealer, we're going to bake it. Baking is a drag term for those of you who don't know. And it's a technique where you set your highlight, specifically your under eye. We're going to do our whole face because that's what I do when I'm doing a full glam look, with an excess amount of powder, and basically you let it sit anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And the powder, the heat, natural heat from your body, warm the powder and it absorbs into your skin, locking in your concealer. So it not only prevents creasing, but it helps, like I'm very oily, so it makes sure none of that comes through, and it keeps your face looking flawless all day. So now we're going to bake. I am going to take my Laura Mercier setting powder. This is a high-end option. I have the small one and it's $23. This is not affordable for everybody, so I am actually going to tell you about one that I used to use all the time, so I'm going to go grab that real quick. So this is my drugstore favorite that I've used for years and years. I still have it. Is the Wet n Wild color I can't pronounce it. Color Icon contouring palette, and it looks like this. It comes with a highlight shade and a contour shade. As you can see, I love the highlight shade. So this is around $3 or $4, and it's huge. You do get a lot of product. I've had this for several years. Now, out of all the shades my drugstore carried, my drugstore did not carry the full line of Wet n Wild, and I know there are more shades now, and their stuff is a lot better, but I never used the contour shade in this just because I couldn't find one that matched me, that showed up properly, and the one that here was very almost orangey on me. This, though, the setting powder is the best. Now, I'm using a loose one today, and now, over time, I prefer the loose one, but this, I would scrape it out and kind of make it a loose powder before I would set my face with it, and it did the job just fine, and I really liked it. The powders are very soft, which I love. The pigmentation is good. so it will show up on a lot lighter skin tone than me. But this highlighting powder I liked because it had a cool tone one, and then this was a little bit more yellowy based for my skin, and it's awesome. So I would kind of take a mascara spoolie and kind of scrape it up a bit to make it loose, and then I would take my beauty blender with this and bake my face with it, which is why it's almost gone. But this is a really good option. It's a lot of product in here, and it lasts a really long time for somebody who's just getting started. If you don't want to splurge on the Laura Mercier one. I will say I always used, I mean, it's not very expensive, but it was on the higher end. It wasn't a drugstore contour color, just because I really liked it and I've been using it for a while now. But we'll get into that later. So I am going to use my Laura Mercier powder, but this is a good option to pick up too. It does the same thing. And it works well with the Maybaline Fit Me Concealer, which is a good dupe for the NARS Creamy Radiant, which I've used both. So I would say whichever one is more in your range, or the Rainforest of the Sea, which is my favorite all time. So this comes with a powder puff. Now I've used the Laura Mercier one with a beauty blender with a powder puff. It doesn't matter to me. I kind of prefer this one just because it dirties, the powder kind of dirties up my beauty blender. I have to clean it a little bit more often. And I like it not being absorbed into to the sponge, whereas it kind of just sits on top of the little puff. But they work both just fine. If you don't have a puff, you can totally use your blender with it to set your face. So I just put a little bit in here, and this is where the baking comes in. So this is a lot of powder. I'm gonna put it all underneath where we highlight. Okay. So obviously you can see this, and you would not walk out the house like this, but we're gonna let this sit on our face for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. You will be able to kind of see, and I'll give you close-ups of what it looks like when we first do it versus after, so you can kind of know what to look for. But even if you didn't want to go and do the whole baking process, I still like it, even if you're not trying to make it last all day, because I'm very oily, and this really helps me see a big difference in the oil absorption in my face than when I traditionally just set my my face very lightly, versus when I do the whole baking process. The oil and the payoff of my face overall, and I may use nice makeup and it'll look good throughout the day, but it looks a lot better when you do it this way.
Bitch, suck my dick before I slap you with it. Jeez. Bitch.
I'll give you a close-up of this right now, and then while this is baking, I'm going to show you where to place your contour, and we're gonna blend everything out at the end, and then I'm gonna show you what this baking looks like after 5 minutes has passed. So right now, this is what we're looking at. The powder's just sitting on top of my face. I'm gonna let it soak in. Just like this. And while it's soaking in, we are going to go ahead and do our contour. So, I told you that I never used like a drugstore bronzer for contour before. The one I always used was the Benefit Cosmetics Hoola bronzer. It is a bronzer, but it's cool toned, and there's no shimmer in it, which is why I loved it. It comes with a little angled brush, and I still use that to this day to blend out whatever contour I'm using, because it's great for blending, but it's squared off, so it keeps you nice and chiseled angled looks, and this is what it looks like. Now this is the full size, which is $29, which is not that bad. I mean, it lasts forever. They sell a mini that's $15. It's like half the size of this, and it lasts just as long. I've used both. The brush is a little bit smaller, and I don't like using it for my cheeks, but I will use it for my nose because it's a little bit easier to get these lines. But this is a great one. I would definitely pick up if you don't want to get a whole contour palette, which is what I like to use now, and I'm going to show you guys that. I use the Lorac Pro Contour Palette. My personal thing is, if you love makeup and you feel like this is something you're going to start going into your routine and doing, I would definitely pick it up because I love it. Now, I've not used the Shade and Light palette. I've not used the Anastasia powder contour palette. I've touched them. My thing is, all the color payoff is the same. The colors are the same. I mean, it's just price points are different and the brand is different. It's really just pick which one you like. You don't need 5 different ones. They do the same thing and the colors are the same. I like the Lorac one because it was only $40. And it came with a really nice brush. This is it that I came with. To help angle out your face. And I like it because it has a good range of colors. So the deep is actually way too dark for me, which is good though because you've got colors for a very fair girl, a dark skinned girl, and then a medium toned girl. So it has something to cater for everybody, but I like it because even if you're not one of these shades, I still use everything in here. So I use the dark one as a nice eyeshadow. I use the light contour only for my nose because I think this one's a little bit too much for my nose. The medium contour is what I like to use for my whole face, which is very similar to Benefit's Hoola. If you can see, this is only a little bit lighter. And then this is a pretty brow highlight. Same thing with the under eye powder. I don't use this one here. I've used it before and it's great. So this is why it's good if you're starting out but you really like this and you don't want to buy 5 different products. This comes with your highlight, which is good. I've used it. I just like a loose one is what I prefer now. It's got your contour shade, comes with a brush, and all you gotta do is buy your sponge and your concealer, and everything you need is here. It even comes with a nice glitter highlight. I don't know if you can see that, for the cheekbones, which I've used before, and it's very pretty. So I think this is a good buy. 40 bucks and you get everything you need. So I'm gonna get started. Now I don't blend with this brush. I like to use it because it picks up a lot of product with just one light little dip. However, I find that when I try to blend the powder contour, this brush is so dense on top of the liquid, it kind of grabs my foundation and moves it, and I don't like the way that looks. So I blend it with this one, which is a lot looser and softer and doesn't kind of quite pick up foundation as much. So to place your contour, I do my light contour first, little dip in, and we're gonna do our nose. Now from your nose bridge starts from the inner curve of your eyebrow. So if you want to make your nose look slimmer, you see that shadow falling, you're just going to enhance it, just like that. Now, I want a little bit more upturned of a nose. This part is optional. Not everybody wants to do their nose. Personally, I just don't like how wide mine is. So, you just want to make a triangle on the bottom, right here. Right here. Super easy. And you see, I only did one side, and it makes a huge difference. Same thing on this side. Key is to keep it straight because you will know very quickly if you made your nose look crooked. Just like that. Now we're going to take the medium contour and we're going to place it on my face. Now, I like to contour all the way around my forehead. I only like this portion to look highlighted. Now, if you have a small forehead, you can avoid this region, or if you want to make it look a little bit larger, don't do the center right here. I would do the sides, just like this. Give you more of a heart-shaped look face. You can Google the different face charts and it'll show you your face shape and where you should be placing your contour and highlight. Just so you can kind of get an idea of, oh, this is more of the look I'm going for. Now, for no matter what your face shape is, this rule applies. I think it's the easiest way to follow. Always say from the tip of the ear is where I place my product. Now, I do mine a tad bit higher just because I like a little bit more of a raised look. But you can go more down if you want to. But I do mine just like this, and I kind of blend it upturn to give like a lifted cheek look. But you want to go from the tip of the ear, and I put the product about halfway to the mouth, and then I just blend everything else out, just like that. Go from here, right behind the ear, to the jawline, right over here. Just following your natural jaw shape just enhances it a little bit. You can already see a difference versus this side. And we're gonna do the same thing on this one.
Her ass out the bottom of her shorts. Suck my dick before I slap you with it. Jeez. Bitch. Suck my dick before I slap you with it. Jeez.
Okay, so at this point it's been probably like 5 or 6 minutes. I'm gonna show you the look so far of the baking, and then we're going to start to dust everything off and blend out and finish our look, okay? So, everything is a lot more absorbed, specifically nose, under eye, just like that. I don't know if you can see that there's not so much excess powder or transfer when I pick it up at all, because it's absorbing into the skin. And on the nose, usually by this step I'd probably be kind of oily by now. Same on the chin and forehead, and the powder is still absorbing the skin. So I'm going to start to dust everything off. Chin is what we did first, and you can see it's almost into the skin completely, and then we're going to go to the eyes last and blend our contour. So I like to use a big fluffy brush for this part. I have the Sephora brand one. I'm trying to think, I cannot remember the brush that I used to use. The Real Techniques though are pretty good drugstore brushes, and they do have basically everything you could possibly need. I think they range anywhere from like $6 to $20. The $20 ones though are like the pretty looking ones. The basic ones though are like $6 to $10, and they're really good, and you can get yourself a good powder brush with them to help dust and blend everything off if you don't already have one. I also really like the Eco Tools, but I think those are a little bit more expensive. For that price I would just get like a nice brush set or something. So I'm just dusting off our bake, just like this. You can see it's not even like on the jawline anymore, like it absorbed, soaked that up. And there's really not even anything much to dust off of the under eye. Okay. Now we're gonna blend our contour. I'm going to take my Benefit little hoola brush like this, and I like to start with the under jaw, because I'm the kind of person that if I can't really see it looking like this, I forget about it.
How much coke you gotta sell to make a boat float? Hit 'em till they tell me no more. I'm a highly difficult ropes course. Pulling up to Rome on a chrome gold horse. Say what's up to the Pope, pull off in a Porsche. Who you kidding? Your flow's washed. I ain't in the street, but I go you from the porch. I been had hoes, I play sports. Her ass out the bottom of her shorts. Suck my dick before I slap you with it. Jeez. Bitch. Suck my dick before I slap you with it. Jeez.
Turned my daughter to a queen, turned a dollar to a dream. Flashy as I beam, smoking on good weed, something from Kush seeds. The only strand of smoke for us OGs. I'm rich, car service.
I want to go in a little bit more. So I'm going to add just a tad more of the medium contour. Right up here. Let's give you that. Look. Now for the nose. I start off blending with this, and then I like to use like a good fluffy crease brush to kind of really detail in the nose. Just like this. Taking a little eyeshadow brush. And I like to look down at a mirror because this, like, I can't really see in the camera that well, but in the mirror I can kind of see, okay, it's straight still. Because I have walked out and looked and wondered, why the hell is my nose crooked? And that's what happens when you contour in a rush. I want you to see from the side angle right here. And then look at it straight ahead and what that does for it. Dramatic difference. My eye was itching, sorry guys. I have done so many makeup tutorials today, literally like my skin is in need of like rehab. Okay, so this is it. This is the basic contour and highlight baking spiel. As you can see, it does look a lot different. My face looks a little bit slimmer than it did in the beginning of this video too, which is the benefit of it. But I am actually going to go through and just finish the rest of how I traditionally do my makeup, which is adding a little bit of blush, adding a little bit of highlight, and I'll even talk to you about placement for those areas as well, because I feel like nobody walks out of the house just like this, just face. They add a little bit of extra stuff, and I think it helps kind of complete the look a lot more. So we're gonna go in with blush first. I'm gonna use Dallas from Benefit because I love it. I'm gonna take a small little powder brush and swirl it in there. And I'm gonna work from, now you can do rounded shapes of the apples of your cheeks. I like a little bit round and then straight back right above my contour. I just prefer the look of it that way. And I actually really like this blush because it blends really nicely with a good contour. So if you're looking for something that doesn't take away from a makeup look, it's not too pink, it's not too red or purpley, and it goes with all kinds of looks, this is a really good one. It's like a dusty rose. And I love it. It looks really pretty when you tan during the summer too. And it has a slight sheen, but not too much. I do have a little bit of a highlight, if that's what you're noticing in here. It's a liquid one. I put it on with my foundation. But if you're wondering what that is, it is actually a sample. I haven't ran out of it yet because it's huge. It's like there's a lot of stuff product in there because I don't use a lot because it's so pigmented. But I do plan on getting it done. It's like a bronzing drops. I have no idea where they're from though. What did I do with it? I seem to have no idea where I put them. So I'll leave them in the description box below because I can't find them. So back to blush.
Ignorant ass white kid, but I'm still bicycling and recycling, and I'm still eating gummy bear vitamins on my.
I love blush though. It's probably my favorite like makeup product. Like I can't leave the house and I will take it on and I don't care because I love it. So now I also did mention that I did have that liquid highlighter on by itself, and you can totally leave if you want more of a natural glow just with that, but I'm not doing that. So I'm going to do the Lorac Gilded Honey. So I'm going to go into the fan brush. Now for highlighter placement, sometimes I get carried away and I'll highlight my whole face, but traditionally you want to go almost right above where your blush is, just like that, and blend. Now, sometimes I layer highlighters and I'll layer them on top of each other, but sometimes if I have like a colored highlighter, like a rainbow, I'll go one above the blush, one underneath, and kind of layer them actually on top of it. Just depends on what kind of look I'm going for, but for the usual everyday, I'll do it right there. I do think about a C across your face, so we're highlighting our eyes, so we're going right here on the brow, right above that brow area. And I don't do too much here just because in person it can be a little much. But you can see when the light hits it, it's just enough. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Now this is a light coat and you can totally layer it on again and get it very back on the other side.
I'm a highly difficult ropes course. Pulling up to Rome on a chrome gold horse. Say what's up to the Pope, pull off in a Porsche. Who you kidding? Your flow's
Now, not everybody likes a Cupid's bow highlight. I do, so I'm gonna say do it. And the Cupid's bow, for those of you who don't know, it has that little cute little dip on your lips. Right here, y'all. Well, there you have it, guys. This is the basic contour highlight. This has techniques and products you can use. I did mention a little bit of those drugstore products. Things that I did not use in this video, but I did mention that were good options for somebody who's on a budget. I will list below. Just in case you're interested in those. I hope you guys liked it and I hope it was helpful to you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Bye!